Hezbollah launched new strikes in northern Israel today following this week's shocking attacks targeting the militant group's handheld communications devices. The leader of Hezbollah said today that this week's coordinated explosions in Lebanon were a, quote, severe blow that crossed a red line. He's blaming Israel, which still has not confirmed or denied responsibility. Now, the first round of explosions on Tuesday targeted pagers. Yesterday, at a funeral for some of the victims of those blasts, walkie-talkies carried by Hezbollah members suddenly detonated. Dozens of people have been killed so far. Thousands more are injured. Lebanese health officials say the vast majority were civilians.
I think this is preparation of the battlefield for an Israeli military operation over the next few weeks to a month or so. Of going into southern Lebanon and trying to push Hezbollah back north.
Biden administration officials say the U.S. government and military had no role in the attacks. CBS News has learned that the U.S. did get a heads up from Israel about 20 minutes before the operations began.
And, of course, those remote explosions just adding to the tensions in the Middle East. And joining us live now is retired Marine Corps Colonel Brendan Kearney. And, Colonel, is an all-out war between Israel and Lebanon inevitable now at this point? And should we expect Iran to get even more involved?
You know, I don't think the war is inevitable, Ryan. Israel has a long history of going into Lebanon, and it's never turned out very well for Israel. You know, they have initial success, and then they get pulled into a quagmire there. Lebanon is an unstable country. It's been that way since the 70s. It hasn't changed. So I think the Israelis are going to go in. They're going to punish. They're going to do great damage to Hezbollah as much as they can. Then they're going to get out of there as quickly as they can and then continue with airstrikes and more military actions that are a little bit that are safer for the Israeli soldiers.
And we just heard that the U.S. had a heads up about 20 minutes before the operation. So what sort of conversations are U.S. officials having with their Israeli counterparts right now? And what sort of pressure might the United States try to exert on Israel or others to reach the ideal outcome from an American perspective?
I started to laugh there because that 20-minute heads up is indicative to me that the Israelis don't have a tremendous amount of confidence in the courtesy they provided the United States government. So they limited it to 20 minutes. And I say the courtesy in the sense that they probably felt that there was an excellent chance if they'd given the U.S. government a bigger heads up, that time would have been used to warn Hezbollah. So I really don't think this is going to go much further in the sense of the Iranians obviously are upset. Hezbollah is furious, but they got caught by the Israelis. It was a masterful intelligence victory on the part of the Israelis, and then an operational one in that they were able to pull off this the pager and the radios. It's incredible that they were able to pull this off.
Is this the future of warfare now?
Well, it's been the future for a number of years. I can remember in 2004 being in Tel Aviv when the Israelis told me that we were discussing Afghanistan and Iraq and IEDs, the ever-increasing number of casualties the United States and our coalition allies were suffering from IEDs. And they told me then, and of course I passed that on to the proper authorities, that the next thing we would see is instead of remotely detonated IEDs, they'd start using cell phones. So again, the Israelis are very, very bright people, very, very innovative, and they're taking advantage of an intelligence success on their part and a Hezbollah failure on their part in terms of operational security.
So a lot of people want to know, what is the potential role of U.S. forces as this conflict continues, directly or indirectly? Will we see U.S. troops on the ground?
I doubt it. I think the Israelis are quite proud of the fact there have never been U.S. troops on the ground, except for a short period of time during the first Gulf War when we manned some Patriot batteries when Saddam Hussein was firing Scuds at Israel. Israel's got a very, very robust, a very, very tough professional military. I have to admit they're involved in potentially a two-front war because they're actively engaged, as they have been in Gaza. And Hezbollah is a greater danger to them than Hamas. And so we'll see. I would never see Americans on the ground, boots on the ground, unless it became one of those situations where the Israeli state was actually threatened. And hopefully it'll never come to that.
All right. Well, Colonel Brendan Kearney, thank you very much for your insight.